name is Wes Grissom. I'm the lead guitarist and lead singer for the band Ancient Sins. The idea of starting a band for me goes back to 2001 when I wanted to put a high school band together with some friends of mine. But realistically, it didn't really come more to fruition until 2017 when we put the first record together, or started putting the first record together. So in 2008, when I was on deployment, up until that point, I had already written one song, which is Cause of My Distress. But I had the idea still of wanting to put a band together. So some friends of mine on deployment were like, hey, let's do this. So back then, I thought that obviously we were all going to be in it together, and we weren't, which is perfectly fine. But that's when we came up with the name Ancient Sins. And a friend of ours posed it to us, who was supposed to be the drummer. And he said that the name Ancient Sins is a reflection of society repeating its own mistakes throughout history. So if you look back at any time period, you would see any form of society making, in one way or another, a form of mistake that a previous society had made. So we liked it and we went with it. And then the years went on, we all went our separate ways. And, I stayed to myself, just kept playing guitar, trying to get better, doing my best to get better and better vocally. And in 2017, decided it was, that I still had the passion to do this, and, looked at everything that I had written down and started putting songs together. And then so we started pre-production in November of 2017, lasted a couple of weeks. And I was trying to, get bandmates and whatnot to either be full-time or to come in and help solidify the project as far as, making the studio record. And in February 2018, we hit record, and I recorded all my guitars in a few weeks. And, reached out to my buddy Gary Noonkester, who put down bass guitar for the song Cause of My Distress. And then reached out to, a guy that I met on a music group, Beck Angelo. He put down a bass guitar on a song, and then his schedule got in the way. So my buddy Andy Diekman, who I was in the Navy with, came in and was like, yeah, I'll put down, bass guitar on the rest of the songs that you got. We didn't have a drummer at the time until I think it was May, either late April, early May, when Valentin came in and put drums down on the remaining songs. But up until that point, we had put drum programming down for Cause of My Distress because we thought that was going to be the first single. But overall, after all that was done, I did all my vocals and all my guitar solos. Right after that, we went into mixing and mastering, which took about 3 to 4 weeks, and released the first album, Never Back Down, in July 2018. After that, when I left for the military, on the Navy side, played some shows where I was stationed, both in Diego Garcia and in Sasebo, Japan. Then good old COVID happened, and lost a good 18 months worth of live music, which then I started putting things out via Facebook Live and whatnot, streaming, just to keep up with everybody and keep everyone interactive, with the project. Even did some playthroughs of a few songs and did a live stream for the entirety, kind of a look back on the album as well, like a deep dive behind the scenes meaning for each song. And then in So definitely the biggest goal for the project and for the band overall would be to release the best music possible. I'm always writing and always, trying to come up with ideas, whether it's with a guitar, without a guitar in my head. And typically when I do, stumble upon something or something pops in my head, I'll open my phone or flip with the lock screen over to where you can, take a photo and flip it to video and just, harmonize vocally the idea that I have, and then I'll log it and then go back and listen to it and see what kind of idea I can use for it, whether it be with guitar or with vocals. Otherwise, definitely the bigger goals, would be to tour with a lot of mainstream bands, play festivals, and eventually get signed by a major label. But those are definitely there's a lot of baby steps to those goals. And one thing that was taught to me was you may not always need a bigger label to get on the level that most bands have that or that are on major labels. So always continue to just work hard and, put your best foot forward. And that is definitely the biggest goal, is just to continue to do that and to show, those who are fans and even those who are not fans that could potentially become fans of the band. This is, who we are. This is, the type of music that we make. And we really hope you enjoy it. If you don't, hey, that's fine. But, it's to reach as many people as possible and in a positive way. And, to show them, we take, those ideas, from our influences, but we make them our own. And, we definitely do, want to put our best foot forward and make the best music possible. I think that would be the biggest goal of this band overall. So I've been in music since I was about 5 or 6. My mom got me into youth group choir when I was a kid. Then roughly around, the winter going into the spring of, 3rd grade, I think that was like 95. We got, notification that after school band in 4th grade is going to start. And so I told her I wanted to play guitar, because I had seen an old VHS tape that we had of Garth Brooks, and it was live in concert, and that at the time his guitar player was Chris England. Fantastic guitar player. And so I told her I wanted to play guitar, and she said, "Nope, you're going to play the baritone, the euphonium." And I was like, "Oh man, okay." So that's when that started for my love for classical music and orchestra. And then I played 4th grade, 5th, 6th, 7th, and then took a year off in 8th for school scheduling, and then picked up the baritone again in high school all the way through. When I was in the 9th grade, that's when I really, really wanted to start playing guitar again, as I said, and wanted to, form a band with some friends in school. And didn't get my first guitar until 2003, and that's when I really started playing. Started wanting to, dive into learning how to play guitar, and took about a year off of that and started playing bass guitar. And this is all while I'm still in high school band. And my sophomore year, I started jazz band and started playing trombone. So after that, I started learning how to play bass guitar and did a little bit of drums, a little bit of, trap set, learning just basic beats and things like that, to play drums for, for youth group and whatnot, but mainly I played bass for them. And then in 2004, when the first Alter Bridge record hit, that's right after listening to the first song on the album, Find the Real, that's when I started. I was like, as soon as that song was done, I just was like, I gotta play guitar again. So after that, it was off to the races learning how to play guitar again. Finished high school and just kept playing guitar. And then played guitar for about 4 years straight. Pretty much started playing, I was up to like playing like 7 to 8 hours a day, on my days off, when I was in the Marine Corps and whatnot. And then from about 2008 to 2017, over that about 9-year period, counting the months and whatnot, I only played guitar for about, roughly collectively, about 2.5 years. The most I could probably get out of a day was about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. But there's a couple of days that I did get more than a couple hours. But overall, if you average it out, it was about 30 to 45 minutes a day. And then in 2017, things laid out the way that they were and whatnot, and I picked up the guitar again and was like, this is still what I want to do. And it's been off to the races ever since. I realistically, when I have my gear, I probably play roughly about 4 to 5 hours a day, just to not only maintain where I'm at, but to put other music on, like blues and jazz and metal and soft rock backing tracks, and just sit and improv behind them for at least an hour to 2 hours. And that's roughly collectively with each genre. And then I practiced vocals. When I started taking vocals seriously again in 2016, I started roughly practicing about an hour a day. That way I didn't burn myself out or burn out my vocal cords. And just started building and building and building from there again. That's just a good question. And, I definitely touched on it earlier. But, absolutely. And the only reason why I would say, yes, that I would foresee anyone, supporting any major act, whether it be Alter Bridge, Five Finger Death Punch, I went and saw Dokken live, and the band that opened for them they were good. They were it's a small act, from there in Albuquerque, a local band, and they definitely were great musicians. It's overall the main reason why I would foresee this band opening for any major acts. It's not about the quantity of music, it's the quality. The quality of your product, and how well you present yourself, not only as a musician, but as a person. And because that is a public image that everybody will see, and they will remember that. And so will that band that you open for, because and let's say it's not a major act, you open for somebody who's the headliner on the bill, and let's say next year they're signed by Napalm or Better Noise or Rise Records. They're going to look back at the shows that they performed and be like, hey, in certain areas, if we don't have a continuous tour with us and 2 or 3 other acts, who in this area do we want to call back to open for us or play with us again, or just be around, period. And those are things that they're going to remember, and they'll look and be like, hey, these guys, I don't know, these guys acted a fool, they, got the mindset of, we're all just going to party and get drunk and, booze it up and this, that, and the other. But then, hey, we had these guys, they weren't as, talented as these guys, but they have their stuff together mentally, musically, that is things that those people are going to remember. And, that's really what's going to make or break it, besides the quality of your product, and it definitely goes a long way. So in all honesty, do I foresee us opening for a major act? I absolutely do. And it would be something to take extremely serious. This is a fantastic question. I think a lot more interviewers should really hit on. Definitely something not to do. Don't think that as a band, when you guys come up with an idea that it's the greatest idea. I'm definitely guilty of that. And, when I was younger in my writing, and then I presented that idea to a couple of people, and they're like, yeah, no, not so much. But definitely, work through it and work it out, and, have a couple of people who are close, to you, listen to it, but give a non-biased opinion, or someone that that has a strong, musical background by, whether it's the bands that they know and whatnot, just have them, give it a shot, and, just play a couple of ideas for them. And get some feedback. Do not be scared to have that constructive criticism. Now, of course, if somebody's giving that kind of criticism that is not the best, and it's just straight slander, or oh yeah, it's great, and that's all they say, then definitely have somebody else listen to it. But yeah, don't be afraid to get feedback from others. Another thing definitely to not to do is, don't be afraid to, just sit and play in front of others. Especially maybe, you may not have stage fright, but, don't be afraid to, to sit and play whatever ideas you have in front of people, so that way you get more and more comfortable doing it. Definitely one thing also, it's actually more on the idea for it's something to do, is, whether you're a guitarist, a drummer, a bass player, a singer, set a metronome and definitely play to a metronome. For me as a guitar player, personally, it gets a little redundant at times, so I'll put other songs on and just play along. But they have a BPM attached. All songs obviously do. So, just be cognizant of that. Don't be afraid to, sit and just, do your warm-ups with it, or just sit and, put the metronome on and just write, just come up with riffs or ideas. Even single string ideas, and harmonize and things like that. Don't be afraid to use those tools that are at your disposal. Another, I guess the biggest one, is what to do is definitely do pre-production. A lot of artists are not aware that, that's where your greatest ideas come from, is pre-production. You may already have like 15 ideas logged, but in pre-production, you could possibly have 15 more. And then you're going to start picking and choosing which one sounds the best and X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, you could take probably some of those ideas that you have in some of those areas you think you might be missing something, and slide those in there, and like I was saying, piece it all together like a puzzle, and see how it sounds. If it doesn't sound good, then pull it out, but you never know. So yeah, definitely give that a shot. Especially if you're going into writing an EP or an album or something, or just one song at a time, definitely do that. Oh man, where do I start? First and foremost would be Paul Reed Smith guitars, because I use my go-to models are the PRS Tremonti SEs. I've got 3 of them. I used to have a Tremonti signature model, things came up, I had to unfortunately sell it, but definitely PRS. There's no other guitar that feels best in my hands. For me personally, everyone has their own brand that feels the best to them, and for me, it's PRS guitars. Ernie Ball strings. I use 5210s and 5410s. I use Dunlop picks. I'm extremely blessed to already be endorsed by Morley pedals. I use the Morley Mark Tremonti wah. I've got the Morley ABY switch, which is a fantastic ABY switcher. But definitely also, I would love to be endorsed by Behringer. I use the Behringer VT100 FXH for my live rig, and then my practice amp is the VT30FX. Both are discontinued, but they're amazing amplifiers at a really, really good cheap price. Other amplifiers that I would love to be, endorsed or to use even would be Mesa Boogie, KSR, or what used to be Rhodes Amplification from Kyle Rhodes, Bogner, Voodoo amps. The list goes on for amplifiers. Otherwise, I think it'd be also amazing to be endorsed by Voodoo Labs for the use of the ground control when I eventually work that into my live rig. So first and foremost, everyone can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/ancient sins. That's the main area where I post, all the updates, the live streams, either there or I'll post it on my personal page and then share on the band page later. reverbnation.com/ancient sins. But musically, for everyone, definitely subscribe to us on YouTube. Just type in YouTube, type in Ancient Sins Official, or just type in Ancient Sins, and it'll be the first one that pops up. Otherwise, there's iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, anywhere that you can get music digitally, we're out there. Just type in Ancient Sins and look for, the album cover for the first album. Right now we are in the works for the second album, and I've been posting little updates here and there for that. Little teasers, if you will. Otherwise, shoot us a message on Facebook. I'll happily, respond if anyone has questions they want to ask. Any musicians that have questions about, the writing process or what it takes, for that. And there's, things that may not be working for you, shoot a message over, and, I'll definitely help you as best as I can. Or, reach out to others, with the question that you have, and, see what else, we can come up with for you. Otherwise, absolutely. Facebook is the main hub. And then, like I said, anywhere digitally that you can, that you get your music, we are there. And then if it's not there, it's always on YouTube, and whether it's the lyric videos or the album itself. So definitely subscribe on YouTube, and like I said, follow us on Facebook, and we will, we'll definitely answer any questions, or if you just want to, just chat, say, hey, how's it going? Always down to answer messages.